Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to talk a little bit about careers and career planning. When we start out this class, before we start talking about how to save your money, how to spend your money, how to budget your money, where you can put your money, we've got to figure out how are we going to get money. So some of you might already have a job right now as a high school student. Some of you might have had a job before. Some of you might have never had a job before. So what I like to do at the beginning of class of personal finance is to have you guys start to do a little research into careers, especially if this is not something that you've already done. It's something that you want to start thinking about as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, probably graduating high school in the next few years. It's something that you want to start thinking about. So I've got a few slides I want to go through here, then a little activity that we'll do with careers and career planning. So why do you get a job? The first answer that people think of most of the time, because, you need money. You need money to pay for things, gas, groceries, go to school, all those great things. But really, when you're looking at what are the factors that go into getting a job, it's not always just what kind of money are you going to make, right? There's other reasons that people get jobs, and there's other factors that kind of decide what career or what job path somebody will take. So when you guys are looking at what kind of jobs are you interested in, or looking at what pathways are you looking at, there's a lot of different things that you have to kind of consider, and it can be overwhelming for a lot of people. To use myself as an example, growing up, always knew that I liked working with younger people, working with students, kids, helping people. I was always a good communicator. I was able to explain things to people in a way that they could understand. So all of these things kind of led me to education, to being a teacher. Did I factor in how much money will a teacher make? Definitely. It's something that you have to think about. But there's a lot of different things that you can consider as well. What skills do I have? What do I like to do? Because those two aren't always the same thing, right? Sometimes the things that we like to do and the things that we're good at are not the same. How much money do I want to have in the future? What kind of a lifestyle do I want to have? What kind of benefits, what kind of life am I going to be living? All of these things kind of go into why we get a job, or what kind of a job do we get. So some things to know, to learn, some vocabulary maybe you've seen before, maybe not. Kind of what I was talking about on the last slide. So things like your values, the things that are important to you in your life. To use an example, and I use myself as an example a lot because I can talk about myself. I can use some personal examples. What values do you have? Are you somebody who values being around your family all the time? So I look at myself as a teacher, right? Everybody knows teachers work from September to June, and then you get about 2.5 months off for the summer. You don't work weekends. You get vacation days, holidays off, spring break. All those are great times that you can spend time with your family. On the other end, somebody might value having a nice car. That might be, or having a high status. So they want to have a job where they're going to work 360 days a year and they're going to make as much money as they can. And that's great. Everybody has different things that are important to them. Maybe it's that, maybe you have a value that you want to travel. Maybe you have a value you want to see the world. Maybe you have a value of, whatever is important to you. Those are going to kind of shape what career you look at, and what you might be interested in. And going in with that is your lifestyle. What kind of a life do you want to live? So to use that example again, maybe somebody wants to be a CEO of a company and they want to grind and work every day of their life and make as much money as they possibly can. And they don't care if they're home for vacation or home for holidays, anything like that. They just want to work and make as much money as they can. That's the kind of lifestyle they want, because they want maybe a nice house, a nice car. That's great. Everybody's different. On the other hand, somebody might say, well, having these fancy things is not that important to me. I don't need to have the lifestyle of going out fancy places to eat, or driving the nicest car. Maybe it's more important to me that I get married, start a family, live in a suburb. These are all lifestyle choices, and your career is going to affect what lifestyle you have. Just by how much money you make, how much do you work, where do you work, do you have to travel? That's all going to affect your lifestyle. After that, these two other vocab words, you have aptitude and interest. And a lot of people get these confused, aptitudes and interests. They're similar, but they are different. So an aptitude is something you're naturally or inherently good at. You have an ability to do that. The example I usually use, some people are naturally good at art. They have an aptitude for drawing or sculpting or using their hands. They're artistic. Some people are just born with that. At a young age, they can draw really well. And some people have other aptitudes. Interests, on the other hand, are things that you enjoy doing, things you like to do. Why do you like to do those things? So aptitudes and interests, like I mentioned earlier, can be different. Sometimes the things you're naturally good at and the things that you like doing, you have an interest in doing, are different. So how do you find a career that can fit both of those things? Maybe you are the world's best drawer and you can draw just fantastic, phenomenal pictures, but you absolutely hate it and you don't want to do anything with drawing at all. You're not interested in it. And that happens sometimes. So there's some steps to career planning once we've kind of went over these vocabulary words and learned a little bit about those things. So there's really 4 steps that I kind of go over, and you guys will do a short activity or project with these 4 steps. So the first thing you want to do is you want to analyze yourself. Think about, and really, really think about yourself. What do you like to do? What are you good at? What kind of a life do you picture yourself having? What do you value? So all those vocabulary words we just talked about. What are your aptitudes? What are you naturally good at? For me, I'm a naturally good communicator. Talking to people is easy for me. I can explain things in a way that makes sense. Some of my interests, though, may be a little bit different than that. Maybe your aptitude, maybe you're really good at communicating with people, but you're interested in working on computers and working alone, and that's fine. So you have to take a look at, what am I good at? What do I like to do? What kind of a life do I see myself having? What kind of money do I want to have? What are the things that I value? Is it family? Is it my time? Is it traveling? All those things. After you've analyzed yourself, you want to start doing some research. So once I've figured out, okay, I'm a good communicator, I like working with kids, I want to be able to spend time with family on holidays and weekends, now I can start researching what careers fit into these things that I like to do or these things that I'm looking for. So you can use the internet, you can use publications, you can talk to people, you can ask your friends, you can ask your parents. There's a lot of different ways you can research. You can ask to observe people or do a job shadow, spend a day at somebody's work, see what their daily activity or their daily life is like. There's a lot of different possibilities of what you can do. After that, this third step is, I think, the most important step, your plan of action. What are you going to do to make this happen? What steps are you specifically going to take? A lot of times with students, the number one thing that I'll hear is, I'll ask, what do you want to do? People ask you all the time, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a professional athlete. I want to be a teacher. That's awesome. That's great to have goals. But what are you going to do to make that happen? Are you going to do a job shadow of a lawyer? Are you going to apply for scholarships to go to law school? Are you going to talk to somebody, your uncle who's a lawyer, and ask him, what did you do to be a lawyer? This is where you can really make or break a career. What are you going to actually do? What school are you going to go to? What are the steps you're going to take? So for this step 3, plan of action, you really want to kind of organize all the information that you've gathered and start planning. And it takes time and it takes effort, but it really helps out in the long run if you can put out a list of a couple things. I need to get this done, and I need to get this done, and I need to get here so that I can do that. It really helps to do that. And then the 4th step is to reevaluate yourself all the time. You've heard probably stories of brothers or sisters or cousins or friends who are older than you. I did 2 years of school for this, and then I changed my mind. I wanted to do something else. I started off, I wanted to be a teacher. Now I went into this. You always are changing and evolving your interests and the things that you like to do and the things that you want to do. So it's important to kind of, as you're going on this journey, reevaluate yourself. Do I still like doing this? Am I maybe interested in something else now? And do that. So there's a lot of, you see on the right side of the screen here, it says what are some good ways to get experience or knowledge about possible careers. All those things I talked about, job shadowing, asking questions, talking to people who've done it before. I think that is the number one thing that students need to do is to go out and explore and talk to these people. It's one thing to read about it or see a movie or a TV show or a YouTube clip, but go talk to these people who have done these jobs. Ask them what was easy for you, what was hard for you, what can I do to set myself up for success, and learn from other people's mistakes. I think that's one of the most important things to do. And then also you want to set goals. So when we talk about, what career do you want to do? We talk about setting a plan of action, step 3 of the career planning steps. Once you've decided kind of these are the steps I need to take, set a goal for yourself. What are you going to accomplish? Is your goal to be a police officer? Is your goal to be a librarian? Whatever your goal is, you really want to write your goal out and set it up as a SMART goal. And if you've never heard of a SMART goal before, what a SMART goal is, it's an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So with a SMART goal, somebody might say, well, I have a goal to be a doctor. Okay, great. That's not very specific though. And it's not time-bound. It's not, maybe for some people it's not realistic. If you've got a 1.6 GPA and you say, well, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon. Is that very realistic? Maybe not. So with a SMART goal, you might say, I would like to be a physician's assistant by the end of the year 2025. Might be a SMART goal. It's specific. It's time-bound. You can measure where you're at. Did I become a physician's assistant? Yes or no? And that measures it for you. It's realistic. And then, again, it's a time-bound thing. And then this last part here, it's not what you know. You've probably heard this before. A lot of people say, well, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So that kind of goes back into the fact of you want to go out, explore, talk to these people, learn from their mistakes. Before I end this video, there was one other thing that I wanted to show you. And you've maybe seen these before at KM. We do a lot with career clusters and career planning. I just wanted to give this link to you, and I have it linked on Canvas that you can see as well. But these are all the different career pathways and career clusters that are listed. Everything, any job that you want to go into is kind of listed here. So agriculture, food, and natural resources. And then they give you kind of some examples of what those jobs might look like. So this is a great place to kind of start when you're looking at, if you are somebody who has no idea what you like to do or what you might want to do, this is a great resource to start off at and look at what kind of jobs are offered under each category, because sometimes you might not even know of a job that's available, and you might find something that piques your interest a little bit. So I just wanted to show this really quick.